Hey guys, how you doing? If you're new here, my name's Sabrina, and I just started furniture flipping not that long ago, just a couple of months. So I have a new project today that I want to show you guys, so we'll get right into that. And once you watch the video, if you think it was helpful for you, make sure to give it a like so that other people can also see. And if you want to keep seeing more content like this, subscribe so that you can keep on following me along this journey. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video and I'll see you there. So in today's video, we're going to be doing some projects. I have this mid-century nightstand that I'm going to show you. The finish is in some rough condition and the veneer is a bit thin, so I want to try my hand at gel staining it because you don't have to sand down to bare wood for gel stain, so I think it's going to be a lot softer on the wood and hopefully we get a good result. I also have a mid-century desk that has some scratches and stuff like that, and I want to use the gel stain to sort of touch those up, so I'll also show you guys how I do that. But first, let's take a look at this nightstand. Alright guys, so this is the nightstand. Super cute. Has these adorable little drawers. The original owner put some candle wax on the drawer slides to make it slide easier, so I'm gonna have to take that off to do everything, but I just wanted to show you. So as you can see, the finish is in rough condition. There's areas where it's flaking off and cracking, so I'm gonna have to get that off without damaging anything. The side is in a little bit better condition, but as you can see, there's still areas where it's cracking. So yeah, I'm gonna have to use the gel stain to fix that up. There were some areas where the veneer was lifting, just like this on the other side, and I put a bit of wood glue, as you can see, and I put a brick so that it could set, and it worked out pretty well here and here. So I think I'm just gonna sand off this bumpy part. So I think I'm just gonna repeat that on the other side and where it's coming off, and I'll show you how I do it. As you guys can see here, it is lifting in the corner and right here. So I'm going to try and put some glue in here. I don't have a syringe or anything fancy like that. I really just use a toothpick, and that seems to work. I mean, it's a little bit messier, but hopefully I can just sand off any excess. So let's try that. Okay, so you just sort of want to get under this like that and spread it around like that. I like to put a little bit extra because you can always sand off whatever squirts out. Just gonna put a little bit more. Up here. Okay, so that should be enough. As you can see, there's a little bit of excess squirting out, but that's okay. Just means it's really sticking in there. I have a piece of paper towel, just sort of like grab the extra and really squish it in there. I just want to grab the stuff that got in the corner so that it doesn't dry there, because it'll be hard to sand it out. Just like this. So the reason I'm using a wood glue, not a super glue, so this gives you a little bit more flexibility because it's water-based, so if you get it on your fingers, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So you can see that is all stuck down. So now I'm going to do this piece over here. So this is along the bottom. I'm just going to spread it like that. So there's even more lifting right here, so I'm just going to make sure there's enough everywhere. Okay, so as you can see, now it's all stuck down, and because this is a very thin piece and not a very stiff piece, I can get away with not holding it down with anything because this doesn't really have enough weight to stick back up after you stick it down with the glue. Okay, so now that I've glued down the areas that I could glue down, there's some areas where it's missing some of the veneer, so I'm just going to use a little bit of wood filler and try and recreate the corner. You can always put more because when you're sanding, you can just take it away. I'm not really sure how this is gonna stain, so I guess we're gonna find out together. Okay, I think that'll be good. Just a little bit more down here. I'm just gonna do one more corner. Okay, so hopefully that does it, and when I go to sand, I will take that all off and make it smooth and try and rebuild the corner. Now we're going to test out sanding and see how it sort of reacts. So I'm gonna start small and not go too fast. So if you wanna come in close and just see. So see how it's all like bumpy there? I really just wanna sand to get off that layer. Alright, so as you can see, it hasn't sanded the finish all the way off, so I'm going to do a light layer everywhere, and then I'm going to see if I need a stronger grit or anything like that to actually get it all the way off and get it to where I want it. So I'm going to do that and then check back with you. Okay, so we've decided to try a little bit of a coarser grit because this one's a little bit too fine to actually remove the cracked finish, and because that's so textured, I don't want to put the gel stain on top of that. So we're going to try it out and I'll let you guys know. Alright, so we've decided to go in with some 80 grit to really remove that finish, so we'll see how it goes. We finally got it all sanded down, all the old finish. It's looking pretty good. It's pretty smooth. I didn't want to go too crazy. So it's actually a really warm toned wood underneath, and it probably is like a walnut or a teak, most likely walnut, but like a more warm tone. So I think I'm just going to use teak oil and not stain it with the gel stain like I originally planned. And the teak oil is really nice because it'll fill in any sort of scratches or divots because it has like a very nice viscosity to it. So now the next step is to do the little drawers. The finish was coming off pretty easily, so except for these little corner grooves and stuff, I think this shouldn't be too hard, and then we can get to oiling it and I can show you how I do that. Now I'm gonna show you how I do the drawers, so if you want to come in close. the drawer is coming off pretty easy, as you can see. See, the finish already came off there. It didn't even take that much work. So for here, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna curve the sandpaper so it fits in the handle. And go just like that. So you see it fits really well in there, and that's what I'm gonna do, and then I'll show you when it's done. All right, so the legs are a little bit wobbly, so we're just gonna give them a tighten so that they are nice and secure. Now they're all tight. Okay, so now that we've sanded it, I'm just gonna wipe it down with a damp cloth to get all of the sanding dust off, and then I'm gonna decide if I wanna keep this color, which we just figured out was underneath, or if I wanna stain it like a dark walnut. Alright, so now that we've wiped it all down and got all of the yucky sanding dust off, we're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to oil it all up and see what it looks like. So it's the next day, and now we are going to apply the oil. I'm using Teak Oil by Minwax. So this is the one that has the sealer included in it. It is not just the oil for just regular polishing. So just so you know, when you're using this, it does have a sealer, so it will start to dry and get tacky, so you got to make sure you get it on and then you don't touch it and you let it set. And it's meant to go on bare wood, not finished surfaces. So I'm going to be using this, and I just have a little bit in a cup here to make it a little bit easier, and then I just have a sponge to actually apply it. Alright, so I'm just going to dip the tip of my sponge into the oil and just get a little bit on there, and then I'm just going to start applying it. This wood is really old, so it's really dry, so I feel like it's going to suck up a lot of the oil right off the bat. Just want to sort of just do that. You can always add more later if you need to. It's better to start out with less. Want to make sure that it's applying evenly and sinking in everywhere, because you don't want it to dry in globs. So right off the bat, you'll be able to see that different areas are sucking it up differently. So you can go over it with another coat to sort of fill in those areas, but first you just want to get it everywhere. And you do not want to get this on your fingers because you need paint thinner to get it off. So up and down with the grain of the wood. You don't want to sort of go like side to side or in circles. Also because this helps so that you don't get any weird lines also. have added the teak oil, I'm realizing that it's not going to give me enough color on the areas that I would filled. So I'm going to take the shade Pecan by the Min Wax Poly Shades collection, and I'm just going to touch up where the wood filler is and try and match the color a little bit. So I just have a really small brush. I'm just going to go in and attempt to touch it up. The pecan wasn't doing what I wanted, so I went in with red chestnut, and I'm trying that, and it's giving me a little bit more color. I only need a bit anyways, so hopefully that does what I want. Been on here for about 10 minutes. I didn't really put on any excess because I didn't want it to get too sticky in the sun, but the can does say to let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes and then to apply another coat and let that sit for I think 15 minutes. So I'm just going to apply another coat like I did the first one, and then that's just going to probably be it. Is on this and the drawers over here. I'm going to move on to my second piece of the day, which is this mid-century modern desk. I believe it's either walnut or oak or a mix of both. So if you come with me over here, you can see that there are like a few scratches and some discoloration and just areas where it needs to be touched up. It's all scuffed up. I grabbed some gel stain, and we're going to see if we can use that to sort of touch this up without having to refinish the whole entire thing. I have already cleaned this desk with a degreaser. I used the TSP, so I'm just going to take some sandpaper to lightly scuff up the surface so that when I put the gel stain on, it has something to grab onto. Using a microfiber cloth to get all of the dust off of the top. As you can see, I really didn't sand the finish away or anything. With gel stains, it sits on top of the finish, so you don't have to do a whole bunch of sanding. So I'm just cleaning it off, making sure there's no dust. And then I'm going to scuff sand all of the areas that have imperfections and stuff like that, and then we're going to apply the stain. I'm just going to scuff sand the areas that have like dents and chips like that. Alright, so I'm just going to take a little bit of the red chestnut stain and touch at the little tiny areas that is chipped all the way to the wood, just to give it some color, because the gel stain that I'm using is a lighter color. So I'm just trying to get it in all the spots where there's really light wood. And wipe away all the excess. I'm just going to take my gel stain in Golden Pecan, and I'm just going to do a really, really thin layer over top. With this is to try and cover the white scratches. I'm just using long sweeping motions so that I don't gum it up in any I've applied all the stain and I have wiped off the excess, so if you want to come in close, you can see that now the top is very uniform and there are no white scratches everywhere. So even though you're really only applying a tiny little bit, just so that it really settles in those scratches and covers it up. Even the scuffs that were on the legs before, now they're pretty much gone. There's just a few marks where there's some old white paint, which I might try and get off at a later date. But yeah, so they're looking pretty good. If you want to come and see, the nightstand is pretty much dried now. The drawers are back in. So this is the final color. It's looking really good. I'm really happy with it. The natural wood just really came out using the teak oil. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Okay, so the last step is I'm just going to do a really thin coat of the Crystal Clear Lacquer by Watco. So this is just in a semi-gloss. I just really want to protect the high traffic surfaces from getting like scratched. I just want to give it a longer wear time. So I'm also going to do a small layer on the desk that I put the gel stain on. It's been about 24 hours since I did the gel stain, so everything should be dried now and should be okay to seal. So now that I have these two pieces pretty much done, the only thing left to do is to let them set completely and then stage them up. Hey guys, so it is the next day after I posted the items on Facebook Marketplace. I posted them on Facebook Marketplace last night, and within 3 hours both the items had sold and someone came and picked up the nightstand at 10 p.m. So she messaged me around 9. She said she wanted to come at 10 and get the nightstand, and I said no problem because I was already awake. You know, I do go to bed pretty early sometimes, but I was willing to stay up. She was super sweet about it, and she came and got it, so that really worked out. That one's gone, and somebody gave me a deposit for the desk, $100 deposit, and they are coming to get it on Saturday. So that was probably my quickest sale ever because those items were super on trend, super MCM. It was super popular. It was what the people wanted, and it just shows how well MCM pieces really do. The nightstand was newly refinished. It looked really great. I'm so happy with how it came out, and the desk is so unique and there's not a lot of them out there. I took the first person who was willing to either pick it up or give me a deposit, so the lady did give me a deposit, so it's all hers. It's just pending right now because you never know. But now we can get into some of the profits. So for the desk, I actually purchased it for $30. I got really lucky. I was getting some furniture somewhere else, and I saw a post on Facebook Marketplace Restore, and it just happened to be this desk, and it was very MCM looking, so I wasn't too far away. We drove over and I ended up snagging it. So that was a really good find. It was super lucky. It's not always that easy to find MCM desks, especially. I find, at least, because, you know, they are rare, and when people do have them, they usually post them for a higher price, not really a price that you would flip it at. So I purchased it for $30. I ended up selling it for $4.25. I originally listed it for $4.45. I went down because it's a difference of about $20. It's really not that big of a deal. So we settled on $4.25. The gas was $12.50 for that desk. So my profits for the desk were $382.50. So to be honest, like, I did some work on the desk. I could have left it how it was, but I covered up all of the scuffs. You know, I went over it with the gel stain. So I did put work into it to make it look brand new again, and I think like it's definitely also a combination of the work you put into it to make it look really good and the way you stage it. Pictures are very, very important. It helps you sell the item, because if you have a good item with a bad picture, it makes it look like a bad item. So make sure you stage your items really, really well, because that is super important. For the nightstand, the profit margins on this one were not as good, but I purchased it for $30. I sold it for $135, and gas was $5. So my profit on that nightstand was $100. So I only posted it for $135 because I knew I could post it for a little bit higher, probably around $150. But this nightstand is on its last life. You can't refinish it again after this because the veneer is too thin. Some age-related wear. Some of the corners had veneer missing. I wood filled them. There was a little bit of chips in some places. So I didn't want to price it at top dollar. I would have priced it way higher, maybe around $160, $170 if it was in pristine condition. But just because of the condition of the veneer, I just felt better pricing it a little bit lower, because I feel like $135 is a really fair deal for that type of nightstand. You probably would pay more money for a table from IKEA, so I felt like that was really fair for the condition of the veneer, the age of the item. Even though I made it look really good by refinishing it, I just felt like that was fair. But yeah, nightstands do really, really well. A lot of people want matching ones, but with condos and stuff like that, don't feel too bad if you only have one, because a lot of people can only fit one nightstand, so that is not the end of the world. But yeah, those were my profits, and let's get back to the video. I hope you guys liked the video, and I hope you learned some helpful tips on how to refinish some mid-century modern pieces. I am by no means an expert, but this is just sort of how I've been doing it, and I'm learning still. So if you have any better ways to do anything, make sure to leave it down in the comments below, so that I can keep learning and I can pass it on to you guys. So if you liked it and you found it helpful, please give this video a like so that other people can see it also. And if you want to continue on this journey, just subscribe and we will continue learning together. But that's all for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.